Welcome back to another episode of Born Again Bowhunting Podcast. On this episode, we're continuing our trail camera series, and it's kind of like a partnership series, really.
Yep.
We're talking with WiseEye, and we have Jason on with us tonight from, it looks like you're sitting in the office still at WiseEye.
Oh, yeah, definitely still here. So yeah. I'm here all the time. I think I live here now. So.
You got a little cot back there in the back or something?
Yep, no doubt.
Well, thanks for joining us. Why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit, talk about
what you do.
Yeah, what you do there at WiseEye, and we'll carry on.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, yeah, my name is Jason Ray. I helped start the company with my father-in-law a few years ago. My father-in-law is Harold Monk. So anybody that's got our cameras, there's a decent chance you've spoken to Harold at some point. Yeah. And we started a few years ago down this road. We actually developed a feeder, and our feeder used tech to recognize the animal. And our feeder was way ahead of its time. And we learned very quickly that the data that we were getting from the tech was way more valuable than the feeder itself. And so we took that out of there. We moved it to a camera, and it's exploded since then. People like the camera. They like dealing with the family. You call, you're getting one of the members of the family. So Harold's my father-in-law. The receptionist is my sister-in-law. The other owner is my uncle-in-law. So I do most of the development around here. I lead a small development team. We manage the software that runs the cameras. We design the firmwares for the cameras. We design the apps, and we do just about anything else you'll ask us to do, including customer support. So if you ever get on the live chat on the website and you see that you were talking to Jason, that's me.
Cool.
So yeah, that's a little bit of everything. So
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. When we were at ATA, it was cool to see that the owners were there at the booth versus just, some sales guy from a big company or something like that. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We truly appreciate the camera, the technology, the ownership, just the family atmosphere. I know, little side note, before we decided to work with you guys, I ran 18 of the minis that I personally bought with my own money. And it was just because I was tired of cameras that 100% I'm not going to brand bash, but I was tired of cameras that were just unreliable, fuzzy photos. I was tired of paying the $5-10 a month extra for the HD quality photos. And like, I just, at my point in my life, in my hunting career, I wanted something that was reliable. And we had a mutual friend, John Miller, actually, who owns Premier Outdoors in Mount Hope, Ohio. We do a lot of work for him as well, and he kind of introduced us to the camera years ago. When you guys first dropped off the Mini, that's when I got excited, because I wasn't very interested in the bigger camera, to be honest. But once you dropped the Mini, I really enjoyed the price point, the quality, and just what it offered, like the data that you were talking about. And ever since then, man, I got these guys running them. Yep. And I mean, you can't, you go from another brand to a WiseEye.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah. It's honestly undescribable. Like, it's not even close.
It's so funny. Like, Kevin and I run, or we used to run, some of the let's say the cheaper brands, and you use your imagination. And we would get pictures, and like we have a group, like a group chat where we would show pictures of what we're hunting. You couldn't even tell what it was.
No, you'd zoom in and be like, yeah, that looks like a buck, or it could be branches behind it, but nice deer anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
we would literally.
Yeah, I know exactly. So we have a camera, and again, we're not here to brand bash. We know all the guys at the other brands. We're friends with them.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
But we have a camera from one of our competitors, and it was hanging at Daryl's place. So Daryl is Harold's brother, so he's one of the owners here. And since we're in South Louisiana, we don't have a super impressive deer herd. And so after 6 months of nothing but does on the camera, all of a sudden we see something. We're like, ooh, that looks not only like a buck, but it looks like a nice buck. We might need to take off work today,
Yeah.
And so we're like looking at it going, well, we can't quite tell, like, really if it's a good book. So we requested the HD photo. We paid like 50 cents and got an HD photo, and we still couldn't tell what it was. Like, man, we really wish that had walked in front of our camera.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying there. So
yeah. We always joke about it. We use the other ones to kind of, I should say we would use the other cameras to tell you if there was a deer in the area, and then if you wanted to truly know, the WiseEye would go
Yeah,
out.
absolutely. And since then, those have been on marketplace and they're out of here.
Yeah. I even mine aren't worth anything. They're so old that
Yeah.
we won't get into that.
That's funny.
But
Well,
Go ahead and ask him one.
we
or
got a
two of
couple
those, yeah.
icebreaker questions for you, and then we'll just get
Yes,
into about the cameras and whatever you really want to talk about. So, first question is, what is your favorite YouTube channel other than yours, if you guys have one?
So we do have one, and that's definitely not my favorite because it involves my voice on a microphone, and I can't stand that. So favorite YouTube channel is probably Demolition Ranch. I've been watching Demolition Ranch for like
Yeah.
5-6 years now. I got into his other channel Off the Ranch because I like him and his family, and so I'm really jealous of him because I can't understand how he has that much time in the day to do everything he does. I'm
Yeah.
like, he's found a time machine somewhere is what I've decided. So, but yeah, that's probably it.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So, question number 2 is, what is your favorite dream hunt if money is not an option?
Dream hunt if money is not an option. So I would probably say it's definitely a bison hunt for me. I definitely want to do a bison hunt.
oh, that's cool.
Somewhere somewhat free range. I'm not sure I'm totally capable of doing a 100% free range bison hunt, but I've seen some places in Colorado and places like that look amazing for those kind of hunts. So I think that would be great.
That'd be
Plus,
cool.
I mean, they're absolutely delicious. So
Yeah.
what's the what's to lose here?
Yeah.
Dude, that's cool. We haven't heard bison yet.
Yeah.
I like that one.
And then our final question is, what is the first article of clothing that you're going to sacrifice when nature calls and you're in the woods?
Oh, well, it depends on if it's cold, man. Maybe I've got like a balaclava or something I can sacrifice. Because luckily here we all get cold in the morning, so I can sacrifice that for the afternoon hunt.
Yeah,
you know?
right, yeah.
So.
That's awesome.
Well,
All right. Now that we're broke in, we'll
Yeah.
get into the podcast.
Yeah.
So, like I said, off air, none of this is scripted, and we just kind of want to run with it. When this podcast airs, you guys will have already announced the new camera. So why don't we just dive right into that? Because that's probably going to be the most important. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the differences between the Mini and the new camera, and then we can kind of bounce off of that.
Yeah. So he's holding both of them up there. The new camera is the one on the right with the 2 antennas. So what we did is you referenced our big camera earlier. We took the best parts of our big camera and tried to marry it with the mini cam. So the mini cam took just the best image quality, especially at that price point.
Yeah.
It took a better image quality than the big cam. Now, what the big cam had is the big cam had amazing cellular reception. It had built-in GPS and it's tough as nails. I've actually got 2 of the original big cams. They were the very first shipment we ever received of them. They're still hanging on my place. They've never been inside. One time, one of them got hit by a bulldozer when they were cutting my place with the timber company, and he found the tree that he knocked over. He went and took it off the ground and gave it to me and said, "Hey, I knocked over your camera." So we wanted, like I said, the best features of that camera, but we wanted the image quality of the Mini. Right. So you're looking at the same image sensor as the Mini. So it's going to take just beautiful pictures. It's got that larger lens. We get a lot of color. We get a lot of light. We've done our best to balance that so you get a really quality picture. It's got the built-in GPS like the Big does, so you don't have to locate it on the map. It knows exactly where it is in the world. It's got the 2 antennas like the Big does, the 2 external antennas, and those are even stronger antennas than what the Big has. So those are dual 6 dBi antennas, which all that means is it's got a longer range than the current Mini. Mm-hmm. We also camouflaged them because we had several people tell us that they thought big black antennas stood out like a sore thumb. And so we camouflaged the antennas. We think they look pretty cool.
Yeah, they do.
And then on top of all that, they've got, it doesn't look a lot different, but it's a new plastic that we're using. It's got more heat and cold resistance. So we have a lot of customers like out in West Texas, where that sun's going to be on that camera all day long. This one's going to hold up to that. So it's got a heat resistance well north of 160 degrees.
So you're saying the camera that I'm holding right now has a different, I didn't even know that. You're saying that the plastic is a different plastic?
It's a slightly different plastic. And it's hard to tell if you actually weigh them next to each other. I think the new one's actually a little bit heavier, but it's just a different chemical in the plastic, right? It's a different makeup of the plastic. Awesome. It's not thicker or anything like that.
Cool. Yeah.
But yeah, we did that. But yeah, other than that, it's got all the stuff people like about the Minis. It does video right out of the box now. We did a lot of stuff tweaking the battery life. That's probably the one shortfall of the Mini is that it's only 8 batteries because it's a smaller housing. So for people that do run on AA's, it's not the best battery life all the time. So we try to do some things to tweak that to make our process of sending the image more efficient so we wouldn't burn up that power.
Mhm.
And then we did the same for the GPS, because the problem with GPS and cameras is they eat a lot of power. And the traditional way of using a GPS and a trail camera, it would turn on and off all the time, and it really would burn through battery power. So we did some things to make sure ours only turns on and off at very specific times. So it gives you the GPS info, but it never eats up your battery. So we like it. We've been running them. I mean, I've had prototypes out for close to a year at this point. I've never seen anything that'll touch it. We think it's the best cam on the market, and the price point is going to come in at. I mean, it's basically taking the place of the Mini as far as the price point. So we're giving you all the features of the big cam, which is a $300 camera. We're dropping that down in the $220 price, $220 price range. So we like it. We're excited about it.
Yeah.
And the response so far from people like yourself who've had the early versions, they're begging us for more. And we're trying to convince them, like, no, we have to wait for our release date. So,
Yeah. It's
Well, we're right there with them.
yeah, seriously.
We could take about 20 more.
hey, I'll write the order up now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I can't tell you if anybody's listening to this or watching it and you're on the fence and you're like, hey, I want to get a better camera, I strongly recommend the Mini. Super easy to use. I'm going to open it up. There's just one toggle switch that's like set up and on, and then you have an LCD screen, a menu button, up, down, left, right arrow, and okay. It's very simple. The battery tray, everything's just super easy to get to. I'm always, I don't want to say ashamed to say this, but I've spent a lot of money on cameras, and I'm running 30 of them, and I started buying them probably three years ago.
It was probably a good 3 years.
And I started with the Minis, and I can honestly say that #1 camera is still out there running strong. And if anybody's listening to this or watching this, you know as well as I do that most of the other cameras that let's say that are a little bit on the cheaper side, you're only going to get 2-3 years max out of them. And if you are one of those people that are listening to this saying, oh, I don't, I can get 4 or 5 years. No, like if you're putting them through the ringer, like we are, leaving them out year round, not just for 3 months out of the year, like these cameras are getting worked. And I still have the first camera that I bought out there running. And, I can't say anything negative about the camera, truly. And the fact that you guys with the Minis, I wanted to talk to you about this too, Jason. Most camera companies want you to buy the next version. They want you to buy the newest and greatest. Nothing's different. We all know nothing's different from the camera. It's just a little software update that they did. They changed the look, and it's the same camera as last year. It's just got a different look and, 16 megabyte, pixel or whatever it is. And why don't you dive a little bit on what you guys offered for the Mini, and just go into that.
That sounds great. Yeah, we so you can see it right in the name. We don't advertise ourselves as WiseEye trail cameras.
Yep.
We don't want to be a trail camera company. If we could find a way to run our business without trail cameras, we would do it. We are a technology company. We are much more interested in the data behind the trail camera. So we do a lot of stuff with our apps. We do a lot of stuff with our website. So to that point, we don't have an interest in remaking the camera every year. I don't have an interest in you throwing those cameras away every year. If you throw them away every year, you're going to hate my guts at about year 2, and you're never going to buy my product again.
Yeah.
So we wanted you to keep them. We wanted people to feel like they were part of something. Like this wasn't just something they, I've got to update all my Minis this year because the new Mini came out. So yeah, we did. We released a huge firmware update for the older Minis. If you have any Mini that you've ever bought from us, it can take the update. And if it has any problem taking the update, we swap it out to one that's already updated. But the update allows you to do video, which you've never been able to do video before on the Mini. You can have that video sent directly to you. I know there's a lot of trail camera companies that offer video for their cellular cameras, but they all make you request the video. And there's some good to that and there's some bad to that. Obviously, that uses less data and allows them to keep their costs a little bit lower. We get that. But as I was talking to somebody this afternoon, you don't know if you want that video or not from one image. What if that one image is a blank image, but if you got the whole video, now there's a buck coming through, So we send you the whole video by default. And you can choose 5, 10, or 15-second video. You could choose the quality you want all the way up to 1080p. So you're getting a beautiful video. You got the same the same pictures you've been taking. We opened up some more options in the menu system for the burst modes and things like that. There's a few more options you can tweak there. The big one is obviously the video. We did tweak some things with the efficiency on the sending to try to improve the battery life and improve the connectivity. We were not the only trail camera company that had this problem of time zones and daylight savings time. So we actually, one of the biggest things that you'll never notice is there's a huge clock update in the new firmware update. So your clock is never wrong. So we're really proud of that. We like that one. But so, yeah, we did. We went back and we've basically made the Mini into a new camera. And you didn't have to pay for that. If the update didn't work, we sent you a new camera, or we sent you an SD card with the update on it. Because like I said, I don't think it's right for me to come out with a camera and then 2 months later come out with a new version and you feel like, oh, you've got to upgrade. The data cam is an upgrade over the mini cam, but it's not mandatory. You could be perfectly happy with the mini cam. The data cam is for people who need that stronger reception and they would like the GPS options. So that's really what the data cam's there for. The mini is going to stick around. It's a great camera. Everybody loves it. So yeah, we're really happy with it and the way it came out.
Yeah, I would say for sure, if the data cam never came out, I mean, I would run minis for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like it's what I need.
Yeah.
It works great. Like I don't want anything to be different, to be honest. It's like I could just stick with this and go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really. But I mean, it's a huge upgrade. It's sweet.
So we have had the luxury of playing with the data cam for about a week now. We've had them for maybe 2 weeks, roughly.
Yeah, a week and a half.
But we finally had an opportunity. I keep saying we. I didn't do anything. These guys, I blew my back out and was laying on the couch. And but why don't you guys talk a little bit about Indiana?
We were able to make a run to Indiana to stick some cameras out on some public ground. And what did we take, 2 or 3 of these?
Three of the
days.
Yeah. So we were able to stick those out, and sticking them out for the first time process was so simple. Just fired them right up.
Yeah.
And the video that they have been sending us from Indiana is just crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is so nice.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as we got like the first 2 or 3 videos back, we're like, okay, where's the buy button for a couple more of these puppies?
Yeah.
So we're pretty pumped about it, but they have worked flawlessly. And I really like the camo antennas.
Yeah. They honestly blend in a lot better.
They do.
So I removed a mini from one of my spots and put the data cam up, and like just with the camo antennas, like it just blends in so much more.
Yeah,
I really
that
like
was a great
that
move. That was a great move.
Yeah, we were actually we were quite nervous about it. We had no idea how it was gonna. Yeah, it's one of those things we saw it on paper and we mocked it up, and when we took the first one out of the box, we're like, oh wow, this looks pretty good. We like it.
Yeah.
So we were on the fence, especially with those giant paddle antennas. It is it's kind of a face only a mother could love, but it does work really well.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't care what
they are kind of big, but really,
as long as it works,
the camo pattern kind of breaks it up, and especially when it's up on a tree. Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
it does disappear on a tree trunk for sure.
Yeah.
So Jason, I'm kind of holding the camera, the new one, playing with it. Do you recommend running the antennas straight up parallel to each other, or they do have that fold over option? Do you recommend for best signal strength doing something like that, or what have you guys found?
Sometimes that will give you better signal strength, especially if if the tree is causing interference. So if you notice that, I open my camera up, it's no longer behind the tree, and it gets great signal, but I close it and it doesn't seem to work, then definitely kind of angle them to where they can be around the tree is a good call. When we did the testing, for most people, the best configuration is going to be the we call it the knife, where they're straight like that, where they're straight up and down, kind of like you've got it there right now.
Yeah.
For most people, that's going to work, but you can rotate the antennas, and you will notice a difference depending on where you're at, what the signal's like there, what direction the nearest tower is. Now, what you have to do when you do that is you turn the camera off and on between. So that's going to reset that signal meter on the camera. So try it the way I described it, and if you want to try it a different way, turn the camera off, rotate the antennas, turn it back on. And you may notice that meter going up and down until you find the one you like. What we also recommend is there's an app out there called Open Signal. It's a free app that you can get for Android or Apple, and it will tell you which direction the nearest cell tower is. And so you can use.
Why do we not know about this?
I don't know.
To make sure that camera's facing that direction. What I learned on mine is all the cameras I had problems with, the tree was between me and the tower. Like I was mounting it to the oak tree, and I'm blocking the tower. So I had little signal, and the very little signal I had trying to go through an oak trunk. So little things like that help. But yeah, you can definitely rotate those, get a little better signal. I've got all mine running either flat kind of bunny ear look or the knife look I was describing. Those tend to be the two best.
Yeah.
We actually did do a giant test where we tested every possible way you could twist them to see if there was any difference. And there is a difference. It's all going to depend on your area.
Yeah.
The two best were that knife edge and the bunny ears.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I got a question that I'm sure you guys have been asked a lot. Can you take the new antenna and put it on a mini?
Absolutely. You can do
Okay.
that. You won't get the same level of signal as Datacam, obviously,
Right.
because it's got two external.
Yeah.
The Mini actually does have two antennas. It's got one external and one internal.
Yeah, that's what.
And so you kind of get this weird, you do get a boost in your power, but it's still that internal antenna is holding you back a little bit.
Right.
Mhm.
But yeah, you will get a boost in the power. That's actually one of the ways we decided to go with that antenna. We did test it on some minis. So
Okay.
yeah, you can definitely swap it over. And we are getting some more of the camo antenna. So for people who have a mini and just want the antenna, you can buy an antenna.
See, that
And,
was what we were
and upgrade it.
discussing.
Yeah.
We were
We-
talking about that.
So
Sweet.
yeah, I'm not sure we ordered enough of them. We only have 500 of them being made right now.
Oh, you did.
We may need a few more.
So Jason, obviously this podcast will air in late August after the release of the data. Through the Facebook groups and the field staff group forum or whatever on Facebook, people have been talking about the new antenna. Are you guys referring to the antenna that's on the data for the Mini as the new antenna, or maybe is that something that is not allowed to be talked about? Because that was one
No,
of
I
my
believe that's what
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they're talking about on the Facebook groups.
Okay.
Is the new antenna is referring to the Datacam antenna,
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
which is like I said, it's a 6 dBi antenna as opposed to what's on the Mini is a 3. So the dBi just refers to how far away you can get that signal. And
Okay.
there's a trade-off, not to get uber technical here. The lower the number, the less distance the signal covers, but also the more omnidirectional the signal is. And so what that really comes into play is elevation. So if I make that number super high, I can get a huge range on the antenna, but it'll become very narrow. And so if you have a hill or a tree or something, it can block the signal. So that's when you have to get the antenna really high and aim it just perfectly. So we played with a lot of different dBi. So that's a 6 dBi. It gets you a really good balance of still being omnidirectional, able to get around the trees and able to get over the hills, but giving you that extra distance past the 3. So,
Okay.
and both of them are stronger than what you have in your cell phone. So we always tell people if your cell phone gets signal, your mini cam or data cam is definitely going to get signal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I've found that as well.
Yeah.
Which
Well-
that was a hot tip about turning the camera back off, moving the antennas, turning it back on.
Yeah, and what was that app again? On
It's called Open Signal.
Open Signal. We got to write that down.
We just re-listened.
I'd love to
it.
incorporate that into my app. I haven't figured out how to do it yet. When I do, I'm going to definitely put it into the Hunt Control app. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. That. Hey. Yeah. That's
That's
sweet.
where we're at. So, do you guys have? I guess personally, I've always wanted to know like how a camera. I don't want to sound generic, but works. Do you guys want to dive into that a little bit, or like I
If
mean,
it can.
because like what I'm asking is like so now on the new app, we have a voltage meter, so we don't have the
Battery
the
percent.
battery percentage. Basically, we have a voltage meter, and maybe for some it might be a little intimidating at first, but I've noticed that like anything under 8 volts, maybe 7.5, is when the camera's gonna die. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that, Jason, if you can? Of like just lay it down on how the camera works, what the voltage it needs, like just everything like that. Because I'm kind of a trail camera nerd, and I really want to know more about like how it actually works and what's the best recommendation for it.
All right, so to back it up, the reason for that battery change was huge, and we should have talked about that with the firmware update, because if you have an old Mini and you did the firmware update, your battery voltage changed.
Yep.
And this was a big thing for us, and most people don't realize it, but if you have a camera, just about any cell cam that has that external power port to go to a solar panel or go to a 12-volt battery, when they show you the battery voltage, almost all of them, they can't actually read the voltage inside the external source. So if you have the external source plugged in, it shows 100%,
Right.
even if the external source is basically dead.
Mhm.
Now we had that issue, and we weren't the only ones. Like I said, we knew of our competitors, which ones had the same issue. And so we started exploring, like, how do we defeat that? And so this is what we came up with. So you have 2 battery meters at the bottom of your picture. The first meter shows the internal voltage of your camera. So that's the amount of voltage left in your batteries. The second number shows the voltage left in your external source, if you have one. And so both of those, when they get below 7 is the absolute bottom. If you have kind of average batteries, Rayovac, Duracell, things like that, you're going to see about 7.4 is probably where your camera cuts off. If you have really high-end batteries like E squareds or something like that, you'll go down to 7 because it can handle that load at the lower voltage. But yeah, so when you see it drop below 8, it's time to go check your camera. The other reason we did that is because batteries don't die in a straight line. So or in a linear line, I should say.
Yeah.
So you would see your battery meter was at 40%. And you would go, oh, I still got almost half the time. Well,
Yep.
the camera's been out for 6 weeks, so I still got another 6 weeks. No, you don't. You have a few days.
Yeah.
Because once the battery starts going lower, now every time you pull current draw, you're weakening it more and more and more proportionally. So the percentage, while it seems easier to understand, it's kind of giving you less information than you really need. So we wanted that battery voltage, but mostly we wanted that external source. We were so tired of people calling us going, well, my camera shows 100%, but it's not taking pictures. And it's like, yeah, it's because the battery you plugged it into has been dead for 3 weeks. And you don't have a way of knowing that. So that was a big one. So we do recommend an external source, especially if you're any distance from your camera. I'm 4.5 hours from my cameras, and I run external batteries on all of them. You don't have to go for the solar panel. We do have a new solar panel coming out. It is going to be the best solar panel you can buy. We're super happy about it. That's our top secret thing that we can share with you guys. But you don't have to do that. You can go get the $25 deer feeder battery from Walmart, a 7-9 amp hour, and plug it in through the cable. The cables are about $10-15 on our website. And you can plug it into the cable and you'll get 6 months, maybe more of battery life without a problem. And so it's a really simple solution. You'll save money very quickly. Those batteries are rechargeable. So for $25, you get the battery. For $20 more, you get the charger. $15 more, you get the cable. So you got a $60 investment. You'll spend more than $60 in AA's in a year time.
Oh, easy.
If you try to run, especially if you're one of these people trying to run Energizer E squareds or Duracell Max or something like that.
Lithiums.
Yeah, you'll blow $30 just on a set of lithium. So having that external battery, I mean, that's what we recommend to people. If you don't, the solar panel our new solar panel especially is going to be the best solution because you'll never have to recharge it. You'll never have to bring it back in. It'll never go down. But for people who don't want to spring for the solar panel, that cheap Walmart battery or Tractor Supply battery, they're $22.99 at Tractor Supply right now. I just bought 2 of them. So that's a great way to go for most people. So that's kind of our hot tip there with the batteries is definitely run external batteries, especially if you want to run videos. It's going to get you so many more videos than anything else.
So what do you, personal question here, what do you recommend battery-wise? Say you're in a location where, maybe you're deep in public and it's in some deep hole somewhere where there's no sunlight, you can't run the solar panel, and then also you just don't want to run a 12-volt external battery out there. What would be your recommendation on best AA battery for the camera?
Yeah, your best bet is to stick with a name brand and don't go for their most expensive one. So you will get statistically more pictures on a set of Energizer E squareds. Those are the strongest AA batteries you can buy.
So what's sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. What's the E squared? I've never heard of this.
E squared lithium. Yeah.
Is that the one, the ultimate lithiums? Is that what
these are the ultimate?
The Duracell, I think, is the ultimate lithium. Energizer, unless they rebranded them, they used to be called E squareds.
Yeah,
years ago.
Energizer Ultimate Lithium, like the
Ultimate Lithium
like
is
a
the new
blue
one.
label.
Is it the blue and the white? The blue
silver and blue.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what. Okay, they used to be. I'm old enough that they used to be called Energizer E squared.
Yeah, gotcha.
Came out.
Gotcha.
They are the strongest AA battery you can buy. And they will get you the most pictures. So if that's what you're worried about, they will get you the most pictures. From a cost effectiveness standpoint, it's not really there.
No,
they're going to get you 20-25% more pictures. They're going to cost twice as much.
3 times. I mean, it's
now. They're like $30 to $35 for an 8-pack right now.
For eight batteries, $30.
Yeah, you can run 1 camera off that.
Yep.
So we tell people go buy a name brand battery. So the worst thing you should be buying is Rayovac. That's the absolute worst battery you should buy is Rayovac. You should not buy anything worse than that. Duracell, Energizer, Rayovac, stick with that. It should not have the Dollar General logo on it. And it should definitely not have, look, my mom is the worst by this. My mom buys, I don't know where she gets them from, but they're labeled Sunbeam. I'm like, Mom, Sunbeam makes bread. They don't make batteries. Like, I don't know where the heck you're even getting these from. The only exception to that is we've had, personally, I've had very good luck with the Members Mark batteries at Sam's. I'm sure Costco has an equivalent. I'm positive they're made by Energizer or Rayovac. But yeah, so stick with a name brand battery. If you do go to Dollar General, you're going to see so much less battery life out of those batteries, and especially they're not going to have the temperature tolerance that the better batteries have. So, yeah, I would recommend just running a good battery. Go get some standard Duracells or Energizers. That's your most cost effective bet for that spot you described.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He's right. You do. It's a big battery game.
Dude, I don't even want to talk about the amount of money that I've spent on batteries.
I know.
No.
It's ridiculous.
Well, maybe when you.
Well, so here's your funny battery story. So I hope my dad doesn't watch this podcast. But my dad loved to come to the lease with me and to manage everything. But I'm 90% sure that the last time we went out there, he was taking the same dead 12-volt battery and putting it. So I had a new 12-volt battery and an old one, because I pulled the old one off the first camera, the dead one. And I'm pretty sure that every camera we went to afterwards, he put the new one back in the truck and put the dead one on the camera. So I ended up with one camera working out of 8. And
you're like 4 hours away, right? Or 3 or whatever.
Yeah, I'm 4 hours away. Yeah. And, so I got home. I'm like so excited for about 3 days. I got great deer pictures, and then all of them died. And so I'm down to one camera. That poor thing's been running 5 months, and it's taking pictures of nothing because I didn't cut the grass. So
thanks, Dad.
Yeah, thanks, Dad.
That's awesome.
So, do you guys have any kind of release date on when the new solar panel will be released, or is that still?
New solar panel is early September. Okay. So the lithium batteries are crazy hard to ship, and we wish that everything was made right here in our backyard. That's just not the reality.
Yeah.
And so getting them shipped in is the difficult part. So mid-September is a release date on new solar panels. And they are, like I said, they're absolutely the best. They have 4 times more battery than our old solar panel did. It's a bigger panel. We did a test. We actually took the panel and put it in a pitch black room where it was getting no power, just to see how long could it run on the panel. We took 7,400 pictures on what was just the batteries in the panel without any charge coming into it. The panel recharges in like 3 hours of sunlight, so you don't have to have a whole lot of sun.
I'll take 30 of them.
Places you put trail cameras that don't have sun, that's kind of what trees are doing, is blocking the sun. So
yeah,
we're super excited about that. That'll be, like I said, it's a release date mid-September.
Okay.
Is when they should be here and ready to go. So
well, we're gonna have to check that out for sure.
Oh my!
And we did not order enough, so when you see them, you better get them.
So can you talk a little bit about like price point, or like I don't obviously talk about what you can, but
yeah, I don't know for sure yet. That's not my department. I imagine they're going to be somewhere around the $100 range by the time they hit retail.
Yeah.
They may be a little more, a little bit less than that. Our old panel was, I believe, 75-ish, depending on where you bought it from. And like I said, these are a huge upgrade over those old panels. So It is an investment, but for somebody who wants to run their camera year round, it's definitely the way to go.
I mean,
it's definitely the way
we were just talking about $30 batteries, you know, for real. Like if you can buy a solar panel for $100, I mean, even if you
that's a year worth of battery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it also hooks to deer feeders too. So you can take that. It has a 12-volt output or a 6-volt. So if you have a 6-volt deer feeder, you can also use the same panel for your deer feeder.
There you go. You're just talking our language over here.
Yeah, seriously.
Good deal.
We thought we liked them before.
No, I'm excited because I do have a couple of the older panels and definitely need more sunlight. Granted, solar, it's in the name, you know, like we got to use common sense here. We need sunlight, and I just, where I was at, I just didn't have a lot of luck with them, to be honest. They would last a lot longer than others that I had tried, but still they needed that sunlight. And if you guys are going to offer an option that maybe doesn't need that much,
it'd be worth looking into.
And since you've run our old panel, you will appreciate this. We fixed the mount. The mount that came with our old panel, we don't like very much.
Yeah, me neither.
And so this mount is much better. You have so many more options how you can mount it. You can actually mount it with a strap because you couldn't do that with our old mount. So this is a huge improvement on the mount. And on that note, we actually, one of the new products on our website right now is our new clamp mount. So if you, not just our camera, but any camera, we got a pretty cool clamp mount out there now to clamp it to whatever you want. And you can actually put two you can put 2 screws on the clamp mount so that you can actually mount your camera and solar panel on the same clamp. So that's another cool little product. That thing's like $15. It's a great deal. So
yeah,
now we're talking. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about, like in the new camera, features, camera, infrared? Like, is there anything that maybe you would like to point out?
Well, you said infrared. That's the biggest fight we have. Is there's marketing terms that have been used so much in this industry, and we've conditioned people that, oh, you must have this because that's the term of the day. And the term of the day with trail cameras is no glow infrareds or blackout infrareds, however you say it. Yeah. We don't do blackouts. We had no glow on our first on the big camera. The mini camera is a low glow, so if you get the right angle at the right time, you will see a slight red hue come from the lights. We have talked to every biologist on the planet. We've talked to the ranch owners, and we have literally thousands of cameras on deer ranches and outfitters now. It doesn't bother them. The deer really don't care. The camera all trail cameras make noise, plenty of noise for a deer to hear. So they're going to hear the noise long before they see the light anyway. But that's a big thing. And the reason we chose to go no glow, it's not a cost saving thing. The reason we chose to go low glow rather than no glow is it gives you a better image quality. You get more of that infrared light out there, so more of it can bounce back off the target and get back to the camera lens. And so that's one of our biggest things. So we get people all the time like, oh, is the new one going to be no glow? No, it's not. You're going to get the image quality that you expect. And in our testing, we have not gotten that kind of image quality out of a no glow camera. So that's one of the big things that we fight that battle all the time. I had a guy yesterday tell me that I'll never see a big deer on that camera because it's got a low glow. I'm like, well, we have them in South Texas on ranches shooting pictures of 250-inch bucks. Like I'm pretty sure big deer will get on that camera without a problem.
We could show you a few.
Yeah, I can't. I have no big deer to show. Like I have one big doe. I'm kind of excited about her. She looks delicious. But that's it. I mean, I have nothing else to speak of. But yeah, that's like I said, we fight against that. So the data cam, we've tried to look at what's best for the end user, not just a marketing term that we can sell this year.
Right.
And so like I said, we fight that battle a lot. People call all the time, well, does it have this? Does it have this? And it's always some term that they've been conditioned to believe in. In truth, about the infrared, one of our biggest ranches that we use them on, he has begged us for years to get rid of infrared altogether. He wants a white light flash in that camera.
Yeah.
He goes, my deer don't care. He said, and I would much rather be able to show my clients full color nighttime pictures. And he goes, the deer do not care about that infrared. And I'm like, yeah, I tend to trust him. He does this for a living. But yeah, so with the data cam, like I said, we've really tried to feature pack it. It is very similar to the minicam because the minicam was a great camera. But other than that, most of the features are things you guys are never going to notice. At least that's what I hope. It's improvements to the way the camera operates, the way it connects, the speed at which it connects. So I hope you never notice those, because if you notice those, that means something went wrong with them, most likely. This one does send pretty fast if you've got good signal. It wasn't necessarily by design, but we have noticed that it transmits data a good bit faster than the old minicam does. Probably to do with those antennas. But we can, in our office right here, our transmission time is a little under 2 seconds to send an image from that camera. So, which gives you a faster overall recovery time. So, like I said, a lot of the feature stuff is stuff you're not going to notice because it's just improvements to the minicam. So,
yeah, and I appreciate you mentioned the quality aspect. You know, one of the biggest factors for the reason why I dove so deep into the WiseEye cameras, or the minis, I should say, at first was the quality. You know, because we talked a little bit earlier in the podcast. I was tired of squinting, zooming in, trying to figure out, like, you could see it was a deer with a big rack, but God knows what it had on its head. You know, nobody knew. I mean, it's like, well, he could be a 130 or he could be a 170. Like, you don't know. And I was just so tired of that because I wanted to know what was out there. And then we talked about it earlier in the podcast when John introduced me to the minis. Yeah, the quality, I guess what I'm getting at is, enough of me rambling, is the quality of the camera is unmatched. And price point.
Well, a lot of what you're talking about is I didn't mean to cut you off, but a lot of what you're talking about is the image size too. So that's been our hallmark since the very first cameras. Our images that we send to your phone by default, without special requests or special pricing, our images are 2 to 5 times bigger than everybody else. And we did that because we're all about the data. We want
Yeah.
you to have those charts and those graphs. We want the predictions, and we can't do that with a lousy image. I can't tell you if it's a deer or not if it's just a big white pixel. So we had to give you those larger images by default. And so we're in the process now of coming out with the request the full size picture feature, where you can go and request an even bigger picture than what you're already getting.
Oh,
And most users go, well, why do I need that?
yeah,
Yeah.
We definitely can't charge extra for it because nobody will buy it because
yeah.
everybody's already satisfied with what they've got.
yeah.
But we are coming out with that feature as well. So if you want an even bigger picture, you can do that. But it all starts with that image sensor. We use a quality image sensor. It's a Sony sensor inside there. It's a 3 megapixel sensor. That's another one of those marketing terms we fight against, is the megapixels. So I saw a camera at Academy yesterday that's advertising like 48 megapixels. And it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. First off, megapixel doesn't mean what people think it means. But what they do is they take on these cheaper cameras, they take a sensor that oftentimes is a 0.3 megapixel sensor. So that means the original picture it takes is 0.3 megapixels in size. And then they scale it up. They just keep stretching it and stretching it and stretching it until it's 48 megapixels or until it's 16 megapixels or 20 megapixels. So you took a lousy image and you stretched it. So you just have more of a lousy image. So we stretch ours. I mean, you have to stretch them somewhat, but we start with a 3 megapixel image. And so we're stretching that 3 to a 5, a 10, or a 5, an 8, or a 12. And the picture you're getting to your phone is actually smaller than the 3 megapixels. So the picture you're getting to your phone is actually not a stretched picture at all. It's actually just as good. You know, it may not be as big, but it's just as clear as what's on the camera. So like I said, it all starts with that image sensor. You put a good sensor in there. We've put a good modem in there. The reason our camera costs more is because it costs us more to make it. If I could make this camera and sell it at a profit for $75, I would do it all day long, and I would own the market. But I can't do that because it costs me more than $75 to make this camera. So that's just the reality of it. So sorry I cut you off, man.
No. You answered it perfectly. And to kind of bounce back and leapfrog off of what you were saying is, you know, I kind of wanted to touch base on a little bit of the price point before we get off. And then also I wanted to touch base on the data that you were mentioning, and then we'll probably wrap this up. So if anybody's listening to this or watching it, you're like, man, why would I spend, you know, $200 retail on a camera versus $100, you know, cheap one? Well, it goes back to what you were just talking about. It's quality, right? Like, you know, the famous saying in life is you get what you pay for.
Cry once, buy one.
Yeah, for real. Like, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and ramble about, you know, you need to buy a $200 camera versus one, but I'm saying if you want quality, buy quality. Yeah. If you want junk, buy junk. And I'm not, you know, we're not bashing or anything. It's just the truth. You know, it's like you were talking about, Jason, the price point. Like, if you guys could make them cheaper, you would. But the fact is, in order to get what the image quality that we're getting in the data behind it, like, you can't cheapen up the camera anymore. Yeah. So if you're on the fence, just I pulled the trigger one time, and I promise it'll be worth it. And then one thing that I wanted to get into that we haven't touched bases on is the data. This is one thing that really, we'll try to keep this quick, but this is one thing that really intrigued me. I was one of those guys that every time I was getting a picture, I was getting on Weather Underground. I was writing down the wind direction. I was writing down the temperature. I was writing down the barometric pressure. I was trying to get somewhat of a pattern of a deer using my camera. You know, the classic story of, well, I hunted it for 3 days, never seen him the day I was out of there, you know. Well, he showed up on camera. Well, it's probably because he's using it on the wind that's not right for you. You know what I mean? And so I love the fact that this camera, the data behind it, and the app, it tells you exactly what's going on. Moon phase, barometric pressure, temperature, wind direction. I mean, anything that you can think of. And also, what's really cool about it is you can tag that animal. So you can say you got a big one, big typical, or whatever deer you're hunting, 10 point, whatever it may be. You can tag every single photo that's 10 that deer's in. Tag him as 10 point. Go into your data, and you can get bar graphs and circle graphs and like everything that shows you. On a north wind, he's, you know, 75% more likely to hit it because that's when he's hitting that camera. And on a south wind, it's like, it's, you know, 0. He's never on it on a south. So in my mind, it's like, why why waste, dude, the amount of time that I wasted writing that stuff down, and this camera just does it for us. That's just something that I greatly appreciate, and I'm rambling again, but I greatly appreciate the data behind the camera and the camera itself. And that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah. And it's off of Hunt Control is the app that you need to work the cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make sure if you're looking for that app, you're searching for Hunt Control 2.0 now. There was an old version. Old version's going away. New version's where it's at. So
yeah.
And there's more charts and stuff in there.
Yeah. And then real quick before we wrap this up, do you need to step out for a sec, Jerry? Okay, that's fine.
You're good.
We'll continue.
Yep.
We'll continue. So real quick, as Jerry takes care of something, we wanted to talk about the price point of the data itself. So correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. It's $15 a month for the first camera, and then after that, it's $10 a month. Is that correct? Per camera?
Yeah, that's our middle plan. That's our middle plan called the Weekend Warrior. And so we have 3 plans. So the super fast rundown, the base plan is called the base plan. It's $9. It gets you around 750 pictures. You can also shoot videos on there. I believe you'll get around 20 minutes of video. Don't quote me on that. The second plan is the Weekend Warrior. It's the one you described. It's $15 for the first cam, $10 for all subsequent cameras. We also give you a price break on that one if you buy it by the year. That one will get you around 4,500 pictures and around 70 minutes of video. The final one is the Trophy Hunter plan, which will get you around 9,000 pictures. And the Trophy Hunter plan is $20 for the first cam, $15 for the subsequent. And so that's the way it works. We actually we tell you how much data is included in each plan, because when you shoot video, it's all going to be about the data usage. So how many megabytes did you upload? And if you want, when you run out of data, you can turn it off and wait till next month, or you can buy a little boost and add more data to the plan. So however you want to do that.
Yeah. No, the Weekend Warrior, for anybody listening, is something that I strongly recommend, because I have never ran out of data.
Yeah. So I have the base plan, and on the video camera I was running, I ran out, so I'm gonna have to upgrade to the Weekend
Warrior. Yeah. But on the Weekend Warrior, I've never ran out of data. Even running a few bait sites or mineral licks in the summer, just kind of get an inventory of what's in the area. I've never ran out of data. So, and that's just personally me. I'm sure everybody else has different opinions and whatnot, but a good start for sure would be the Weekend.
Definitely.
Yep. All right, Kev, I say we wrap her up.
Yeah. So we want to thank you for coming on and joining us after work, and telling us about the update on the Mini, and then also on the new data plan. So if you want to plug WiseEye, any kind of social media, YouTube, all that good stuff, and then we'll hit you with the final question and we'll wrap it up. Yeah,
so you can find us all over social media. We have a very active Facebook group. You can go to our website, wiseeyetech.com. We've got links to Facebook, YouTube. I think there's even a TikTok channel now. I don't know what TikTok is, but we have one of those. But yeah, we're all over social media. And for everybody that wants to contact us, we are the easiest people in the world to get a hold of. If you email from our website, you're going directly to my inbox. If you get on the live chat, you're talking to me and my father-in-law. If you call the phone number, we're going to pick up and answer. We don't have a computer that answers our phone. Yep. So wiseeyetech.com is the web address you're looking for.
Yep. And I promise, guys, that if you call with any questions, they will answer. Yep. I have never once called and not been happy with my experience.
Yep. I think I called in a few times, talked to Colton, and I emailed you probably about a week ago. So, I mean, it was fast responses too, and you guys got it down and fixed the issues. So.
Yep.
Or issues on my end, not the camera end. It was
90%. Yeah, 90% of the time it's always user error. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, did you do this? Well, no.
Yeah.
Well, that'll fix your camera. Try thanks. Yeah.
That happens a lot. We don't mind.
Is your battery incorrect? Oh, wait, it's not.
Okay, so the final question is, what is one way you want to improve either something in your life this year or in your hunting career this year?
Hunting career, that'd be I just have to go hunting more. That would be the problem. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, so I don't get to go that often.
Yeah.
No, I'd like to just improve the work life some more. See if we can. I feel like I'm the thing holding the company back. I'm the developer, so I do a lot of the stuff, and I'd like to really find out what the customers are looking for and make sure we deliver on it. So this isn't a job for us here. This is our passion. This is what we want to do. We're all here because we want to do this, and so. Yeah, I'd like to see how far we could take this and how much we can improve it. So
yeah, It's cool.
Yep, love it. All right, guys, check out WiseEye if you're in the market for a new camera. When this airs, you'll have about a month or so before season really gets hot. So definitely enough time. The new data cam, by the time this podcast drops, is brand new, just came out. So go grab you one, and we'll go from there. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for being on, and we'll wrap her up.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Alrighty, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. You can always be born again, and born again is out.